Say there is a third force. Say there is what you're saying, Udaya. What do you think should the government's and can the government's response be? Both should and can. What can they do and what should they do?
Firstly, Sanjana, I think government should educate the public. No, I think the first thing, government should take every single step to ensure that this kind of manipulative forces would not be able to do anything in this country. This kind of sad situation should not be repeated in this country. That government's responsibility. But when we fight with the world history says, when you fight with superpowers, we are vulnerable, we are weak, we are subject to manipulations. The second thing, the government should educate the public. These kind of things should happen. Be vigilant, and government should, whatever government do in investigations into this kind of incident should be transparent. Not only they should act impartially, the people should be able to see that the government act impartially. Those are very important elements.
And do you see any demonstrable willingness and ability of the government to do those three things?
Well, if you know, President Premadasa was killed on a road on 1st of May 1993. After 16 years, we are yet to find out exactly who did it. We say LTT, but we have not established the fact that it was done by the LTT. But in Rajiv Gandhi's killing, they have established very well, beyond any doubt, it was committed by the LTT. Our investigation mechanisms are not very sophisticated, they are not geared with lot of resources. So, not only this kind of incidents, killing the head of states is still a mystery in this country.
But essentially what you're saying is the government faces an uphill struggle.
Of course, with limited capacity, and on top of that, as I said you, this society in general are not sensitive towards killing. This is an issue. Now, those days, as I said, because of the gun culture under which we have been living for last 30 years.
But let me qualify that. I mean, help me understand that. When you say a society that is not sensitive towards killing, the joyous celebrations, almost spontaneous, not almost, I mean, there were spontaneous responses to the fall of Kilinochchi in particular, but also Elephant Pass and the lighting of the firecrackers, the Rabang, the expression of joy that military advances had been made. The society does realize that people had to be killed and people were killed for those military advances.
Well,
so how do you qualify that a society
doesn't? Actually, people were celebrating not killing people at that time. Liberation, now, as I said...
Which involves killing.
Maybe so. No, see, in an operation, doctors hurt the patients. When they use injections, doctors hurt patients. When they clean wounds, doctors hurt patients.
Which speaks to a point that Jathika made.
Patients are ready to tolerate that kind of hurts because that's our doing for good. But if somebody to stab you, you are not ready to tolerate because the intention, the objective is paramount. Without, you can't take it isolation. Doctor is hurt in using a knife, of course, in surgery.
The language is strange, you know, it's markedly resonant of a recent conversation I had with our ambassador in Jathika in Geneva, where he said, amongst many other things, in reference also to his book on Castro and Cuba and the use of state violence, that there is a right way to use violence and a wrong way to use violence.
Absolutely.
And you agree with that? I mean, there is a right way.
Of course.
But is that with the Dhamma? Is that with the Dhamma?
That's why, now, in political philosophy it says, the state is the actor who has the exclusive right to use violence.
But you began with the non-violent precept.
Of course. When non-violent society, the state has that right. Now, even during the most supreme character of non-violence, the great preacher of non-violence is Gautam Buddha. When during his time, the kings used to have their own police forces, their own armed forces. They used to wage war in the name of defending their motherland. Those are part and parcel of it. It doesn't mean that when value of non-violence doesn't mean we are going to forget about policing element of the governance, because it is very idealistic to think that everybody will comply with non-violent ideology, they will practice non-violence everywhere. If it is the case, that will be fine. But unfortunately, we have never achieved, even during Gautam Buddha's time, that everybody comply with non-violence principle. Then people, when I am innocent, when I practice non-violent principles, if you are going to be aggressive and exploit that situation into your advantage, then of course state actors should intervene and ensure that non-violent people be protected. So in a society we achieved 100% non-violent compliance, then of course we don't want a state actor. We don't need a state at all. That's a supreme, very idealistic society. So since we have never achieved that, while we are practicing and promoting non-violent principle, government should have the exclusive right to use violence as well.